So this is Robin Wouters from TechCrunch. I'm here at the Next Web Conference in Amsterdam. I'm here with Joe Stump, formerly lead architect at Digg and now co-founder of a company called SimpleGeo, which is described as a geolocation infrastructure services company, which means...
We basically create cloud services and APIs for developers that are looking to leverage location data. So if you need to store and manage and extract value from location data, we're your guys.
What type of data are you talking about?
So for instance, if a developer gives us a lat long, we can tell them the current weather where they're sitting. We can give them demographic information about where that user's sitting. We can tell them the political, cultural, and geographic boundaries that the user's sitting in. We can tell them local businesses that are nearby, photos that were taken nearby, that kind of stuff.
So basically, if I understand this correctly, you're giving application developers basically a shortcut if they want to add location to their offering. Instead of building it out from scratch, they can just come to you and tap into the data that you're providing.
Yeah, the analogy that I often use is like prior to Amazon S3, scaling file storage was an extremely difficult problem set. And then after S3 came out, it was like, oh, I just post my files to this little endpoint and it takes care of the rest.
Seems so straightforward.
Yeah, that's a very similar kind of analogy to what we're doing at SimpleGeo. If you want to scale location infrastructure, like it's actually a really difficult problem set. First of all, there's really only 3 solutions. 2 of them are enterprise and normally out of reach of most developers. And then PostGIS comes with its own Postgres SQL kind of problem set. So that's basically the same thing. If you need to store and manage a lot of points of data, we can do that for you.
So location is a pretty hot topic. Has been for a year and a half, 2 years now. Mm-hmm. I mean, startups in location-based services have been around for a lot longer, but starting to feel it's now starting to catch on and going mainstream. Is that something that you share as well?
Yeah, I think so. I think location, if you go back like 9 years-ish, location's in a very similar spot of where social was, where people were just starting to kind of wrap their brains around what social could do and starting to integrate that into products. And also, I bet if you were a VC in 2001, 90% of your pitches would have been like, we are Web 1.0 company plus social, right? And I bet a lot of VCs these days are hearing, we are Web 2.0 company plus location. So yeah, I think location is definitely the next big thing right now. Real time and then obviously location, but I think real time and location are tightly coupled actually.
So you raised your first round of funding at the end of last year, I think?
End of November.
End of November. Mm-hmm. From a list of very, very high-profile angel investors and funds. How much did you raise?
I think it was right around 1.5, somewhere in there.
And how many people have you hired since then?
We're currently at 13. 12 of us are engineers, looking to hire a couple of biz dev and designer kind of marketing folks, but yeah.
I also understand that you're based in Boulder, but trying to opening an office in San Francisco, basically.
Yep. Yeah, Matt and I have been looking at office space for the last couple weeks now, put in an offer, so hoping to have an office opened in NSF probably in June. We've got 5 employees out there already, so need to find them a home.
So I'm jumping from one thing to the next here, but
sure.
How do you charge your customers? What's the business model like?
So currently we have a free plan which gets you 1 million calls a month, which is actually on the nose what Twitter API gives you for free, and is actually a little bit more than what Google Maps gives you for free per month. And then from there, right now we have 3 paid plans, but we're finding that that's not flexible enough for our users. So we're actually going to be moving to a much more flexible pricing model where it'll be so many dollars per million calls or whatever, and you can dial up writes and reads and stuff like that. And we also have a feature that actually exists in the API now, and there are iPhone developers that are using it. So our infrastructure was actually built to answer the background location tracking thing, that problem. So we'll have that as well, where you can basically say, I need to keep track of 50,000 active users, and that's going to cost a certain amount and stuff like that. So we're moving away, but we pay for access. We give a nice amount for free, though, initially.
How many customers have you signed up so far?
Ooh, that's a good question. We had about about 2,700 sign up for the beta that created accounts, and we're kicking the tires. And I think we've had another 1,000 to 1,500 sign up since then. So
that's not bad.
Yeah.
These are all application developers?
These are all application developers, yeah.
They include the big ones, Twitter, Foursquare, Goala, etc.
Yeah, they all have accounts. I don't know what they're doing with them. I mean, Twitter bought Geo API, so I assume that.
Yeah, but Geo API, basically your competitor.
Yeah, they were the only thing that we had as far as competition went, and then Twitter bought them, which I'm forever grateful for because it validated our market and removed a competitor.
Right.
Yep.
So, what do you think Twitter's going to do next? Location. We've heard them talk about their location plans at Chirp more recently, but what's next for them, you think?
I think they'll continue to move down, the path of being able to see what's going on around me at a given time and what people are thinking about around me. I think that Twitter would probably agree with me that real time and location are tightly coupled and that they kind of go hand in hand. So I think, it wouldn't surprise me at all if you could see, that would show up. I would be willing to bet it shows up in search soon, where you can basically say, show me people that are talking, or tweets that people are talking about related to a certain topic in a given location and stuff like that. So I think they'll continue to go down that path.
How about SimpleGeo? What's in store for you guys?
We think the iPhone 4 was a huge announcement. We think that's gonna, a lot of people are gonna have to start keeping track of users. Yesterday in my talk, I was talking about just how much data that is and how difficult that is to manage. Facebook needed to keep track of all of their active users, and they were only updating their location every 30 seconds. You're looking at almost 40 gigabytes per minute of storage that you need to use. So I think storing and managing background location is a huge opportunity for us. I also think that we'll continue to go down the path of helping people gain insights and leverage their location data. So obviously, storing and managing is one thing, but it's the thing that our customers are coming back to us with is like, okay, well, you have all my data, now tell me stuff about it. So I think those are two big areas of opportunity for us moving forward.
Right. You mentioned Facebook. Facebook hasn't really announced what they're up to, but obviously it would be very silly for them to miss the location boat. They sit on a huge opportunity. What do you think their plans are, and what's keeping them from rolling out?
I have no idea what's holding them back.
Everyone was expecting announcements at the F8 conference. But
yeah, I was surprised that they didn't announce anything. Right. To be totally honest. I don't know what's holding them back, but I think Facebook is. I recently, about a month ago, I wrote a post for TechCrunch that basically said that location is a gold rush, not a war between a couple people, and if there is actually a war brewing, it's over presence, like where I am and where my friends are. And I think Facebook is obviously poised to own that presence market. I think Twitter wants to, and I think Google wants to as well. But the problem is that the problem for Twitter and Google is that Facebook owns the social graph at this point. They have all of those advanced privacy controls and whatnot. So it could, I definitely think that Facebook could move pretty quickly towards, every time you update your status from your mobile phone, that's an implicit check-in. And then being able to, basically query that your social graph based on location. I don't know. I mean, there's so many things that you can do with it at that point that, all the way down the line to show me photos that my friends have taken that are nearby. And,
which
kind of goes
brings me to a kind of logical question. Twitter bought Geo API, is battling Facebook for location, or is going to. Have you been talking to Facebook at all?
We've been not in any kind of like acquisition or anything talks, but I actually just talked with. I started an email conversation with a person over at Facebook to just chat about what we're doing at SimpleGeo and what they're doing with location, because we think that there's a lot of things that we can help them with. So we've just started chatting about kind of that stuff, but
okay,
nothing.
So final thoughts about the location-based services space?
I think it's a huge opportunity, both for current brands. It's actually really interesting. I feel that brands that have locations actually get location better than some of us startups do. So I just got an email from the guys at Pottery Barn and Williams-Sonoma. They're very interested in being able to make sure that people are aware of locations around them and stuff like that. So I think there's a huge opportunity. The one thing that I really hope that entrepreneurs and people in the startup and tech space realize is that the idea of check-in and presence I would kind of leave that to the bigger guys, because somebody's going to win that. It's not going to be your little startup. And start thinking of ways to create new and interesting experiences based on location, and move up the stack from there, I think.
All right, Joe, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Enjoy Amsterdam.
Will do.